Good morning. I pray that your Friday was filled with spaces and places of joy, of peace, of happiness, that you found even a small amount of time to just laugh, to just feel content, to just feel good. And I know for some people this may be really difficult because you may be grieving losses of people who are no longer here, who have transitioned, loss of job, loss of autonomy, all sorts of losses. But I pray that just for a small amount of time that you were able to find some joy. If you were able to have longer periods of joy, that's a praise the Lord, hallelujah moment. Today I posted something that says, keep your distance from people who will never admit they're wrong and always try to make you feel like it's all your fault. And I dare say all of us probably know somebody or somebodies who will do that. They never admit that they're wrong, and they will always try to make you feel like it's your fault. And that can be quite challenging, because the bottom line is we're all human beings and we all make mistakes. There are no perfect people. And yet there are some folk who walk around believing that, they are perfect, that everything that they do is correct, that everything that they do is just the way it is. And for them, that may be what it is from their perspective. What they fail to kind of look at is that they are dealing with other people. They are not monastic. They are not monks. They are not living by themselves with the exclusion of interactions with other people. Because anytime you add another person to the mix, then there's going to be times when you are correct, and there's going to be times when you are incorrect, because again, we're looking at perspectives. We all have different perspectives. And when someone's not willing to honor or to even acknowledge that their perspective may not necessarily be your perspective, that how they're seeing things may be right for them, but that does not necessarily mean that it's right for you. And so one would say, well, does that necessarily make them wrong? No, that doesn't make them wrong. But what is challenging is when they insist that if you don't see it from their perspective, then you're wrong, that there's something wrong with you. We each have a right to our own perspective, but we have to honor, or it would be good to honor, that everyone has a right to their perspective. And just because someone doesn't agree with you does not make them wrong, does not make them the person at fault. And we see this so much in social media, people arguing about posts that the bottom line is just a post. It's not going to stop people from eating. It's not going to stop people from finding comfort. It's not going to stop the days from turning. It's simply a post. But people feel differently. For example, the Coming to America sequel came out, and I've been reading some preliminary posts, and people are either like, it's not like the original one, but it was cute. From there to, this was horrible, it was buffoonery, it's just awful. Okay. Both opinions are valid because those are those people's opinion. And that's okay. The only challenge that comes up is when the people who feel like it was just buffoonery and it was horrible insist that their opinion is the only opinion. And if you don't agree, then there's something wrong with you. And the same for the people who may say, oh, it was cute, it wasn't as good as the first one. Okay, so that's your opinion. And the ones who really hated it, they don't have to agree with you. And there's nothing wrong with them if they don't agree with you. As I think about, as I grow older, and I am growing older, you begin to think about your mortality. You begin to think about what's really important to you. And what I know to be true is spending time and energy focusing on negatives is not how I want to spend my time. Focusing on people who will never admit that they're wrong, and always want to make me the wrong person, make me the one at fault, is not how I want to spend my engagements with people. You know, I want to spend my time with people who are supportive, people who are encouraging, people who are also challenging, people who help me to be the best me I can be, people who, know me well enough to say, you're cutting corners, you're not giving yourself all you should give, you're not pushing yourself enough. But those same very people who are loving me gently through this time of transition. And that's what I want to be for them. But that involves reciprocity. That involves, if I'm in error, for me to be able to say that, and if they're in error, for them to be able to say that, because we all don't know everything about everything. What I don't have time for is people who insist that they are never wrong, and that whoever they're dealing with is the person who's always at fault. I just don't have time for that. Now, maybe you do, but that's not really something that I'm choosing to engage in or to give a great deal of my time. And so with that note, I would invite you to consider, how much time are you giving, are you allowing to people who never admit that they're wrong and always try to make it seem like it's your fault. And, bonus, if you are that person who prides yourself in never being wrong, never saying you're sorry, and it's always someone else's fault, all I have to say is you may want to pay attention to how is that working with your friends and acquaintances. How is that working, or is that really working for you? This whole pride of never being wrong, if it works for you, have at it. I would just invite you to consider, is it working for you? And I guess I'll ask the same question for people who are making choices about who they want in their life. If you have someone in your life who's never wrong, never says they're sorry, and always makes it feel like it's your fault, how is that working for you? And I'm going to leave it right there as you spend some time intentionally thinking about, how's that working for you? Enjoy today. It looks like it's going to be a great day here in the Northeast. I don't know about the rest of the country or the rest of the world. Tomorrow, I would invite you to focus on self-care, focus on becoming empowered, focus on, hearing messages or reading something that just makes you feel good to be alive. Love you all. I'll talk with you on Monday. Bye-bye.